I believe I have a really good homesteading vehicle. This is not Ford versus Chevy, Toyota versus Ram, or anything like that. I could care less about brands, really. It's the type of vehicle that I believe works best on homesteads. Let's check out the reason why I purchased this particular vehicle for my lifestyle homesteading here on this property. Number one, it needs to have four-wheel drive. In Wisconsin winters, you do not want to be slipping around or getting stuck. The second thing I look for is a towing package. You're going to be pulling things like animals, four-wheelers, firewood, soil. I pull things with this truck all the time, so having a tow package is really important. Third thing I looked for was at least a 6-foot box. The problem with a lot of pickup trucks today is they have these big super crew cabs for a lot of room in the back seat, and then they compromise on the bed space back here. I want at least 6 foot. This is 6'8". It works perfect because when I put the tailgate down, now I've got 8 feet, and that's how long my chicken tractors are. That's how long the typical lumber is that I purchased from the store. Nothing's hanging out the back end, and you can fit a lot more in a 6'8" box rather than a 5.5 foot box. The other thing I look for was a bed liner. This bed liner in this truck is extremely sturdy. I've dropped rocks, bricks, firewood. I've slammed things on the bottom of here, and having a really good bed liner is super important. The good thing about having a bed liner like this is that you really don't care what happens. You just throw things in there. There's some people that purchase pickup trucks and they live in town and they never actually pick anything up inside of their pickup truck. They've got like carpet in there, it's all nice, they don't want to get it dirty. I'm just thinking, what's the point? You might as well just have an SUV with a trailer. The reason for this tri-fold tonneau cover is simply just to keep things out of the weather. That's it. It's not going to keep any of your stuff safe. I don't want a topper because I'm going to haul things in here on occasion that is too tall for a topper. Like we had my chicken coop in here one time. That's way too big for a topper. You haul furniture, you haul other things that are just too big. The other reason I don't want a hard top, one of those flat ones, is because then you're limited to what you can put in here. So there are really expensive options, but I just use a typical tonneau cover, tri-fold, fold it back when I need it, and then fold it back over when I don't need it to keep things out of the rain and snow. This is what the key looks like on this vehicle. Notice there's no buttons, no fob. It's a key you actually need to put into your car, turn it to unlock to get into your doors. The reason why I have this little orange thingamajiggy is that it's actually a flotation device. If I drop this when I'm fishing in the water, it's going to float, or when I'm hunting, I'm going to be able to see this hopefully fairly easily on the ground in the woods. Check out how practical and simple the inside of this truck is. You're going to laugh at some of the features, but I love it. So if you look inside right here, this is how I lock my door. Check this out. Now it's locked. No fancy buttons over here, no power locks. This is how I put the window down. Watch this. You probably haven't seen one of these in a long time. Window goes down, window goes back up. If I want to unlock the car from the inside, I pull on the handle, this goes back up, now it's unlocked. This is a super practical, easy, low maintenance vehicle where very little can go wrong. That's why I like base models when it comes to pickup trucks. And again, this is not a Ford versus Chevy anything. It's just a base model of a pickup truck that I got a good deal on. Back here, we have a seat. Why did I want a back seat, not just a single cab? Because we have kids, and sometimes we take this truck and the kids need to fit in the back. It's also nice if there's something that I need to pick up. For example, if I'm going to a store and I'm hauling a whole bunch of lumber, but there are some nicer things I don't want to put in the bed of my truck, I have a little bit more space in the back right here that I can haul home from some big box store like Lowe's or something, for example. You'll also notice that all of these seats are made out of vinyl. Why is that good? Because they're super easy to clean. There's no vacuuming. You're not really going to stain this very much. If the kids spill something, you just wipe it off. It's very, very simple. All the floors in here are basically just plastic. I can spray this out with a hose. All of this stuff is just going to fall right onto the ground. I've never had to vacuum this truck. I could sweep it out, spray it out with a hose. It's going to be very, very clean, and it's very easy to use. When I want to turn the lights on over here, all I do is this. I do not have automatic lights in here. I do it myself with the switch. I mentioned that this has four-wheel drive, a must-have for vehicles in Wisconsin, especially homesteaders. With four-wheel drive being up here on this knob rather than on the floor, it's more reliable and it's more convenient. Over here on the passenger side, we have a good ding there. We've got a big crack right here, a couple more down there, and guess what? I really don't care. The best part about this whole vehicle is that because it's a base model, it's not fancy, it's not well sought after. Not a lot of people want vehicles like this unless you're maybe working construction, a homesteader, or a farmer or something like that. The reason why this vehicle was available and at a very reasonable price is because it's basic and people want better features or more advanced features for their vehicle. If I were to purchase a vehicle just like this, a full-size pickup truck with all the bells and whistles and fancy features, I probably could not have afforded it at the time. Since it's simpler, it reduced the price and I was able to pay cash for this vehicle. One of the big rules for us here on our homestead is to never finance anything with motors. When I want to change the angle of these side mirrors, I actually have to get out and push and move them around. I have nothing to toggle around with on the inside driver door to move this from where I'm at. So I have to set these up before I drive. The good news is I'm the only one who drives this vehicle, so I don't really have to mess around with that too much. Another reason why I like these trucks that are pretty basic is because they don't have a big center console with drink holders and storage and all of that stuff. If we want to have 6 people in this truck, 3 in the back, we got 2 adults, let's say, in the front or whatever, I can lift this up and I've got a whole nother seat. A lot of the fancier pickup trucks you can only haul 5 people legally in. This one you can haul 6. I've got 2 fancy features for this truck, and they're probably not fancy to you, but to me they kind of are. I've got air conditioning, and then I also have cruise control. There's a lot of freedom in having an old, reliable, paid-for vehicle that's simple and meets your needs. A couple years ago I went fishing, and the landing where you launch your boat was really narrow. You could fit like just a vehicle down it. You could hardly walk on either side. So I was backing my boat down, and all of a sudden I heard like this sound on the right side of my truck over here. Something scraping on here, and I couldn't tell what it was. So I, quick stopped and I realigned my truck and I got out and I realized I was hitting a sign that said, "Don't block the boat landing." It was just a little sign that I couldn't see over here. At first I was a little angry. I was like, what did I do? I'm so stupid. How could I have done that? Why didn't I see that? Slightly embarrassed. But then I thought, I have an old paid-for truck. I could care less if little things like that happen. I got out and looked. It barely made even a little scratch. Years before that even, many years ago actually, I had a much nicer truck with payments. It was all shiny and fancy and ran perfectly smooth and all of that. I would park in specific spots in a parking lot because I didn't want people hitting my truck with their car door. You're constantly worried about your vehicle being hit by somebody else's car door or scratched. Every time you go over a mud puddle, you're worried about it getting dirty. It was just a nightmare. I did not like that. There was no freedom in that. There's freedom in having this because I really don't care too much if something bad happens to it. Now, I hope nothing happens to it, but if something does, I just don't have a lot to worry about. If you don't have a pickup truck, you can still homestead. As a matter of fact, before I purchased this truck, my wife and I had 2 small SUVs. I drove around her old Saturn Vue. She drove a much nicer and newer Jeep Cherokee. Not Grand Cherokee, just a regular Jeep Cherokee. And that got us through for several years because we just pull things in trailers rather than haul things in the bed of our pickup trucks. And both of those SUVs were four-wheel drive. So if you have one vehicle that's 4-wheel drive with a tow package, you can start homesteading for sure. You do not need a truck. So if you think that you can't homestead because you don't have a pickup truck, I'm going to ask you to reconsider that, and I would strongly encourage you to start no matter what situation you're in or no matter what vehicle you currently have. Thank you for watching Together We Harvest. We'll see you on the next one.